Let's talk about what's called the hidden Sephirot on the Tree of Life, Daath. So, Daath is the Sephirot that's located directly below Kether. If you're following the path of the flaming sword from the top of the tree to the bottom, first you have Kether, then you have Chokmah, then you have Bina, and then you go diagonally down to the right to Daath. And it's essentially if you put a path between Bina and Chesed, it's right there in the middle, right above Tifereth and right below Kether. And it's usually depicted as kind of like a see-through, like almost like a dotted lined circle, because it's supposed to be like the hidden Sephiro. I've also read that it's the gateway to the Cliffoth, which is the reverse tree, kind of the darker aspect. And that's why it's also associated with Ganzir from the Necronomicon tradition, the Simon Necronomicon tradition, and the Sumerian cosmology stuff. So I'm just going to get into the different research that I made and whatnot. And so Daath it's called the abyss. I already mentioned this point. So it's the gap created by separation between divinity at the top with Kether, Chokmah, and Bina, and man, and it's said to be representative of the fall from divinity, whether that's like Lucifer falling down from being cast out of heaven, or when Adam and Eve, even though I call complete BS on that story, but I might get into that one day. When they ate the from the forbidden fruit, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's that separation between God and man, which is why there's a gap there. And if you check it, there's no path, which is really interesting that there's no path directly between Chesed and Bina, even though that's the flaming sword, or the lightning bolt from the top to the bottom actually connects Chesed and Bina. So that's the really interesting part. It really demonstrates the separation there. If you look at the visual representation of that. Um, let's see. I already mentioned this stuff. Yeah, and oh yeah, it's also the. Let's see. Yep. It also represents the distance between the world and divinity, and the lack of experience divinity feels because of this. It's that separation. Divinity is separate from us. And I don't know about you guys, but if we're sad that we're disconnected from divinity, I mean, it is possible to form that connection again and whatnot, but kind of feels sad. Yeah. Um, so it also separates what is manifested below, what is manifested, which is representative that's of what's below the tree, with the Sephiro, Geberah, Chesed, Tifereth, Netzach, Had, Yesod, and Malkuth, from what's above, which is Chokmah, Bina, and Kether. Um, Bina, Chokmah, and Kether. Sorry, gotta put that in the right order. Anyway, yep. So the let's see. I don't know what I hear noises going on upstairs. Sorry, guys, but it's the closest that humans can understand of the top three Sephiro. And that's one of the things that I got in my notes. The downfall of Daath is getting stuck in knowledge and not applying it. I've talked about in other videos like the dangers of being a bookworm, and why magical knowledge and magical practice are two different things. And any skill that you have, really, you can know how to do stuff, but whether you actually do something with it is completely, it's up to you. And if you're not doing anything with all the knowledge that you've gained, then what's the point of gaining it in the first place, right? Let's see. Let's Doth can also be seen as like the birth canal of Bino, go in terms of going down the tree, and a grave on one's travel up the tree. So it's both birth and death. Because if you remember from the when I've talked about like the path of the flaming sword, which goes from the top at Kether all the way down to Malkuth, um, you have the path of creation, which goes from Kether to Chokmah to Bina, and then through Daath to Chesed. So Kether, Chokmah, and Bina at the top are the genderless divinity, and then you have the male in Chokmah and the female in Bina, and Chokmah gives the seed to Bina, and then it's birthed further down the line to as you go through the Sephiro, create the physical reality that we have right here. Always use my pool table for that. anyway, so Daath is like the birth canal, and then on your way up, it's the death, which I think you can also say transformation from like physicality to non-physicality, or mortality to divinity, I guess you could say. Um, so yeah, Daath is linked to the mind and the mental body. It must use knowledge and apply it rather than just gather it. I mentioned that. The experience of Daath is vision across the abyss. The obligation of it is detachment from everything around you. Just the idea that things happen, and it's like when something good happens and you get all joyful about it. Cool. If something bad happens and you dwell on it, you can't really change it, right? It's like the idea of worrying. Worrying only gives you something to do. It doesn't really solve anything, and it doesn't really get you anywhere, right? So the idea that life happens around you, and you might as well accept it, and life is going to move on when you're not there. Like, existence happened before you got here, and existence is going to happen when you're gone. So all this stuff that I have right here, yeah, sure, it's cool to have now that I'm physically here, but I'm not always going to have it because I'm not always going to be here, and that's just a fact of life. So, yeah. Um, yeah, the illusion is attachment. Like, oh, I want this thing, and I'm always going to have it. It's that idea of permanence, which I gotta say, in terms of my own growth and stuff, I used to think about that kind of thing all the time. Oh, I'll always have this, blah blah blah. No, I won't. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works, if you know what I mean. Um, so yeah, self-knowledge versus self-delusion, really kind of understanding yourself or fooling yourself. Hmm. Um, ignorance and false enlightenment. That goes along with the illusion of attachment and stuff. Just the idea of, you know, I've had a divine experience, or those people that think that they're spiritually awakened when really they're just kind of lying to themselves. And you can kind of pick those people out, in my opinion, when someone is, you know, kind of cocky or full of themselves rather than, you know, I had somebody tell me once, it depends on where you're at. And that just screamed smug to me. You know, when we were talking about different spiritual stuff, well, it just depends on where you're at. Well, I don't know where you are, bro, but the idea is that everyone is kind of cool where they are, and everybody has a different place that they're going, a different place that they're going to. But I know I didn't delineate that very well, but just the idea that some people, and I'm sure everyone can think of someone like this, that thinks that they're awakened or activated, or yo, I'm so woke. Well, I mean, I'm woke because I had coffee, but you get the idea. I'm gonna move on. Ended it with humor. So the element associated with Daath is air, and that corresponds with the mind. So that was no surprise to me. So let's see what else I got. So Daath is associated with Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, Sirius, Chiron, and the archetypes are the threshold deities, such as Ningazida from the Simon Necronomicon tradition. Coffee needs to kick in a little bit more. Let's go. Deities associated with it are like Janus, Hecate, Persephone, Horus, Osiris, Set, Isis, Mot, Tiamat, the Oak/Holly King, the Green/Red Knight, Loki, Hel, and Shiva. So angels associated with it are Uriel, Mezukiel, and Zagzagel. I like that one. Interesting name. The order of angels is the serpents. Go figure, because that also relates to Ningazida from the Necronomicon tradition from Sumerian lore. Technically speaking, and I'll throw that out there if everybody, if you get anybody that's like, the Simon Neck is fake, check Sumerian lore, dude. Okay, it matches up. Anyways, an animal correspondence to the raven. Incense to be used with, when working with the Daath energy and whatnot is wormwood. There's no metal associated with it that I was able to find. Stones associated with it are obsidian, opal, and moldavite. Plants that are associated with it are psychedelics. Any psychedelic plants, you're talking like, probably like ayahuasca, marijuana, DMT, mushrooms, stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, it's a gateway to the cliff off. Let's see. The true experience is realizing one's lack of permanence in the world in it, but not attached to the outcome. Um, it's also representative of the deep unconscious, the fears and the things in life that we have an effect on and are affected by, but have no permanence with. And like I said before, there's no technical path connections from one Sephirot to the other, because it is and is not a Sephirot. And it separates the supernal triangle of Kether, Chugma, and Bina at the top from the rest of the tree. And I'll make a video eventually that goes into what those three triangles are, if you guys are interested. But I like to drop little breadcrumbs and clues. So yeah, that's a bit of a discussion on Daath, which is knowledge, and as we continue to explore the Tree of Life. Let me know how you guys think I did on this, and if there's any other information that you know that I might not have included that would be really interesting for me or other people to read, put it down in the comments. You can also shoot me an email at priestofthenecro@gmail.com. If you don't mind, give this video a like. You know, you can share, and hey, subscribe if this is the first of my videos that you've seen, because I got a ton of content. I got playlists on general magic skills, the Simon Necronomicon, my theories of magic, Tulpamancy, which is Tulpa's egregores thought forms, and stuff like that. My random playlist, which I just recently added a video to about having to feed my cats breakfast, which was great. I got, check out my playlist and whatnot. You can also find my books playlist on there for my 4 books, and I'm actually writing a 5th. I have about 60 pages into it, but I wrote about a couple of pages this morning, because it's like 5 a.m. right now. Anyway, my 4 books that I have out right now are Magical Theater, The Guide to the Spheres and Beyond, Magical Mechanics, and Handy Sigil Magic. You guys can find a link to my Amazon authors page in the description, as well as my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Magickology, where I'm trying to, get some momentum going with sharing some updates and some fun stuff and whatnot as I continue to make these videos here, which I'm still going at with 3 videos a week. So let me know what you guys think. And, yeah, have a good morning, or whenever you see this. Technically, it'd be the afternoon. Anyway, good hunting.